Hey buddies, some Spoky here, kind of watching another Borderlands 3 video. Today we're going to be showing all the best places to farm for Promethea and which zones have increased legendary drop rates and what type of legendaries drop there. But before we get into it, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. You have no idea how much helps me out, and let's get into it. So first things first, we're going to be going to Meridian Outskirts. Meridian Outskirts has two fast travel locations. There's one with the drop pad, which brings you all the way over here, which is not where we want to go, and then Meridian Outskirts, which is right here, right next to a little vehicle spawn. I'm going to just real quick show how quick it is to get to the area you want to go. So it's right outside here, and the easiest way to get up instead of waiting for your elevator is just jumping on the back and then jumping right back up here. And for those of you who don't see where I am, this is exactly where I am right now. This place has increased drop chance with shotguns. It's very easy to get here, and there's two named enemies, so you have a high chance on getting legendaries as well, since there's also badasses, and named enemies have increased drop chance compared to regular enemies. So right here they have rocks and I think max. They have nice little amount of enemies. They all spawn near around the same time, so it's very easy to just like spawn in, kill them a bunch, and just get the legendaries you want. And as soon as you're done, you can just save, quit, and enter. Like right there, I just killed all the enemies except for, I believe, one in just a few seconds. Yeah, actually all the enemies very easily. And you can just save, quit, and enter back in. It's very quick. It's a pretty easy place you can farm. There's not a lot of good places in Meridian Outskirts, I'll be honest, so this is the only one I could find that even had decent enemy spawn rate. Next place we'd be going to is Meridian Metroplex. Now the Meridian Metroplex has an increased drop rate of snipers and artifacts. There's only one place you can fast travel there, so just fast travel there. So right here is exactly where you want to start. If you guys remember, this was with the main quest where you first meet Zero. I'm going to show it on the map right here. It's going to be all the way down here, and then once you reach the fountain area, you want to save, quit, and enter back in, because the robots that spawn over here is not very good. I don't believe there's any badass variants for the robots, so they don't have an increased drop rate chance as regular Malawan enemies do. Once again, the legendaries that drop here are going to be snipers and artifacts. If you want to farm artifacts, I would recommend maybe doing it on a lower mayhem load. But if you were to do that, you would also be having a less chance of dropping the legendaries in general. So I would keep doing Mayhem 10 if you want. It's just an option. Any Mayhem mode you can do, because artifacts don't scale with Mayhem level, so you don't have to worry about that. The enemies that spawn here are decent. There's a decent amount of badasses and a decent amount of cluster of enemies that spawn here, so you get a lot of legendaries along the way. Next place we'll be talking about is Electricity. Electricity is actually really interesting because the whole place has a lot of enemies in generally everywhere, so it's very easy to farm here. The legendaries that drop here are the SMGs, but the best place to farm for is going to be right in the middle of the map. So it's going to be right next to this dead claptrap unit and this vending machine right here. It's kind of a hard track to get to, but it has a lot of enemies that spawn. Okay, so since I'm here, let me show you exactly where it is on the map in case you guys didn't see. It's right here, right in the middle of the whole map itself. There's a nice staircase here. If you go down here, there'll be enemies that spawn, and pretty much what you want to do is walk to each area, because every area you walk to, there'll be more enemies that spawn. So right here, I just proc the spawn for that enemies on the right. I proc the spawns over here for the enemies over here. And then if I already started walking from over there, so I already procced the enemies over here. So all the enemies are procced. There's tons and tons of badasses that spawn here, so you can get lots and lots of SMGs if you're looking for SMGs that drop here. Keep in mind the legendaries that drop from this event are only from the base game, so you can only get base game legendaries to drop, in case you are wondering on how that works exactly. Also, if you're interested, the build I'm using is going to be on the top right. It is a very fun build. It's all about spamming grenades using the new Pyro Burst grenade legendary, and I'm able to achieve 1 billion damage very easily with it. After you're done killing the enemies, you can save, quit, and enter back in. And I want to show you where it spawns, because it does spawn a little bit decently far away depending on where you walked. It spawns me near the middle of the area, but it's still a decent walk. I believe it's about a 8-second sprint to get back to the area. But along the way, you can kill the enemies that spawn here in case you want to, because there will be badasses that spawn as well, allowing you to get some loot along the way as well. And just in about 10 seconds, I got exactly where we were again, and the enemies and the badasses spawn again. They're also anointed enemies, so make sure you slam those after you kill them. And let's move on to the next area. The next area is going to be Skywell, everyone's favorite map. Just kidding. Sky map is honestly not that best place to loot the desired gear that drops here. It's going to be heavy weapons and grenades mods. You might want to wait till next week to get the next area that spawns the heavy weapons and grenades mods, because this area doesn't have that good of a spawn rate in any particular area, but I'm still going to show you the best place to farm for this area. So the area you want to farm is going to be right outside the big hole that leads to the dumpster area. You don't want to go down the area, you want to just be around the area, because there's lots of enemies that spawn here. As I said before, the legendaries that are going to be having increased drop chance here are going to be grenades and heavy weapons. There's a decent amount of enemies here compared to any other area in this particular map. After you kill them, there'll be a decent more that spawns as well, and there's a couple of badasses, but in general the area is not as good as the Pandora map, or I believe the other maps will be in the future. So if you're looking for heavy weapons or grenades, I would perhaps skip this area and look for another area to farm them. The next place is going to be Atlas HQ. Atlas HQ is actually a really great place to farm. I'm going to show you the best route to get to the paratroopers because that's the place we're going to go, and then we're going to go inside the base. Also, if you have a Schluter artifact, I would recommend equipping it, as I just equipped on my Moze right now. This will allow you to increase the drop rate of the dedicated legendaries, so definitely have that out in case you want to get as many legendaries as possible. So the area you want to go for the paratroopers, and then inside the base, instead of walking all the way around, I would recommend walking right over here. Once here, you just want to jump right onto that. You can vault onto it, and then you just vault onto the bridge. I'm going to zoom out where I am right now. Just right here on the left side of the bridge. And then the paratroopers are going to be wandering up there. What I like to do is to proc their attention by shooting up there. They should be coming down any second now. But before they come down, I am going to be running away, so I don't have to worry about them because I want to get as many enemies killed as fast as possible, so I am running away now. It seems I forgot the enemies don't actually spawn inside the Atlas base as after you complete the story quest, so ignore that. Basically, you just want to kill the paratroopers, respawn, and then just farm them. It's really easy to get there, about 10 seconds. If you were to use a snowdrift artifact, you get there quicker, but that's pretty much the gist of it. You just want to go to that area, kill them, and then repeat. This area will be dropping assault rifles and class mods, so this is definitely what you want to be farming if you want more class mods. The next place we're going to be farming is Neon, I think it's pronounced Archerol. I'm not sure, maybe you guys can correct me in the comments, I'm pretty bad at pronouncing things. But the trek is going to be all the way over here, which is a bit of a bummer because it does take a long time to get. This place does have an increased drop rate of shotguns, which is the same as the first area that I mentioned, the Meridian outskirts. So if you don't want to make the trek, I would recommend just doing Meridian outskirts. Once you finally make it to the transit location, there is actually a ton of anointed and regular enemies that spawn here with badasses as well. So there is a lot of enemies that actually spawn here to get exactly what you're looking for. I would recommend to just maybe doing Meridian outskirts because I do feel like the area here is not as good as the other area that we mentioned before. Of course, after you're done killing enemies inside here, you could travel inside. Once you get to the aliens, I would recommend save quitting because as soon as you hit the aliens, those enemies don't really drop any legendaries in general. I mean, they will, but they don't have as high of a chance as the badasses, bandits that spawn here. So I'd recommend just farming here instead. The final place is surprisingly not going to be on Promethea, but instead it's going to be on Athenas. So Athenas is considered a Promethea planet, I suppose, to the gearbox, but that doesn't really matter. It just means more loot for us. Athenas drops pistols and shields, so it's very, very easy to get a lot of pistols and shields if you were to farm here. If you want, you could technically farm Captain Trot, but I recommend doing something else. So the area that I like to recommend for Athenas is going to be just between this area and then this ammo dump. So let me get there real quick. So I recommend just jumping in right here. There is a respawn area right here, so you can save quit very, very easily. It's right inside the plaza. It's right here on the map in case those of you don't know where I'm talking about. So this area spawns a decent amount of enemies, a decent amount of badasses along the way as well. So we get a lot of gear here as opposed to any other area. Now you could save quit and farm Captain Trot if you want. I don't recommend farming bosses only because I do feel like you can get more legendaries here than you would by just killing bosses. So I'd recommend just going here and then all the way to the waterway over here. Once you kill the waterway, I recommend just save quitting. The reason why is because there's not a lot of enemies between this area and then Captain Trot that have a lot of spawn rate and a big cluster of enemies. So this is definitely just the best bet that you want to farm right here. After you're done, you just want to save quit and then basically just repeat. Very, very easy to get a lot of pistols and shields here in case that's what you're looking for. And then finally, the Forgotten Bastilia does not drop any increased legendaries. Same with the Christine of Slaughter, so don't worry about those two. Every other place on Promethea and Athenas does drop increased legendaries, so make sure to check that out as well. Also, if there's any other farming locations that you believe are better than what I listed before, don't forget to comment it down below. You'll probably help by the follow Vault Hunter and Strength Us as a community. And for those of you interested, I did make a Discord recently, so if you guys want to join my Discord server, check out the link down in the comments and description. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I hope you all have a great day. Bye-bye.
And the last shall be first to immerse in a pass out heat. Facing him up with a moxie melt till he woke up drowning in tchotchke hell. More in a cave with a torch on a wall than a window arrangement of porcelain dolls.